All right, how's it going, everybody? Hope you guys are all doing good. Today is Saturday, June is it 5th? Yeah. Um, Today I'm using Opuntia. I just loaded up my brush. I'm going to get ready to face lather. I'm going to face lather with my Shave Revolution High Mountain White. The handle's a purple heartwood, along with the brush that I used in the last couple videos. This is again, like, both of these brushes are longtime favorite brushes. This one is a little more little bit more floppy, so to speak. It's a very painterly brush. This one does not have the same characteristics as the last brush. So although they're both Shave Revolution, this one's just, again, it's a little bit more, I think, loose. The shape more recently, after looking at it, it's kind of close to that black handled one. The black handled one just has a little bit more of like a pointed feel, or kind of like it feels more like a bulb, where this one just feels more like a fan. This one has still a little bit of backbone, but I think for most people, if they were to try this brush, it would probably not be as backbony as they would like. I know years and years ago, when I was head shaving a lot, that black handled brush is perfect for face lathering. I'm sorry, well, perfect for face lathering and head shaving. This one is just, it's, in my opinion, a little too soft in different ways. That it's, when you're lathering up on your head, it's nice to have a little bit more scrub, a little bit more resistance. And this one does well with like the circles, but it does splay. So the other one is, I think, a little bit more appropriate for both face lathering and head lathering. It's just got a little bit more backbone. I'll mention a couple things. So JB, who watches, he throws up a comment on most of the videos. He was mentioning that, I guess, someone in his family hooked him up with a handle that maybe has like a 28 millimeter handle opening. And I think he was kind of confused that when he was, I think, asking Maggards, they had said, we're suggesting a 26 millimeter brush. And this reminds me that, in a lot of my videos, when I'm talking about brushes, I think this is probably the most, I should say, it's probably the least discussed topic when it comes to brushes. And the thing is, because we can't see, since most knots are set, they're epoxied or glued, whatever we want to say. Unless your knot falls out for whatever reason, you usually don't see the bottom of the glue plug when you're buying an assembled brush. So before I shave real quick, I'm going to point this out. So this is a Shave Revolution handle. It's a Shave Revolution knot, but this is one that I set. So this is a 22 millimeter knot. So I installed this knot. The glue plug is 22 millimeters wide, but when I use my calipers today, it's 24 millimeters when you pinch it here. So let me point out one other brush, this one especially. When you buy this Akakappa brush, it's advertised as a 25 millimeter knot, and it's a 25 millimeter plug. But when you measure this is over 28 millimeters wide here. So the knot size, or like I say, the plug at the bottom of the knot, that does not indicate necessarily, or I should say, it doesn't always match your measurements of the opening of the handle, or where you can measure the where you can measure the hair at the lowest point. I guess it's just kind of hard to explain because I'm trying to think of what terminology is best to use. So, real quick, I've got 2 days beard growth. Yeah, I think. I can't remember. I'm using the minus plate, so the minus carbon base plate, and this is, I think, that Wilkinson sort on its third use, the London Bridge. Shaving all right. But yeah, what I was explaining to JB is, and maybe Ken, since Ken at Shave 326, if he watches this, since he's starting to turn handles and bore these out, the reason why people want to kind of, I think, know this, and I'm not assuming Ken doesn't know this, but a 24 millimeter knot in a handle that only has a 24 millimeter width, the opening, or if you're boring it at 24 millimeters, I think if that's how you would say it, it's going to end up having a great, I think it will be to the detriment of the flow through and release of the lather. And the reason is, so if you install, let's say, a 22 millimeter knot into a handle that has a 2 millimeter increase, a 24 millimeter opening, that extra space, or 1 millimeter on the entire diameter of the hair, it allows the hair or the bouquet to open, fan out, bloom. But when you stick it in something that the knot plug size being in something that has the same width, you're basically choking that knot, and you're not allowing it to have a little bit of bend and a little bit of movement, so that you're able to allow that water and lather, the proto lather, to mix. I think you need a little bit of movement. That's obviously just kind of like a generalization. There's I think times where I think as a beginner, if you're buying handles that maybe have like a really deep depth set to them, and you throw in a knot that's set really deep, it'll be really stiff. It'll be like lathering a little stick on your face with this hair that doesn't really have movement, doesn't really have I don't know, it's just the opposite of what I like. I can understand for a lot of reasons why people would have a different preference on brushes versus how I like a less dense brush and a more floppy, kind of feel. The density is not something that I really look for in a lot of knots. Now again, this kind of goes back to when I was talking about 2-band brushes, maybe a couple videos ago. With silver tip, if you really get a high density knot, because the silver tip or 3-band hair is thinner, the packing of the knot, if it's overly dense, it's going to be a lot harder to splay. With 2-band hair being thicker in the trunk, in the same amount of space, if you have a 2-band and a 3-band knot, the 2-band knot, you can use less hair because it's thicker. So again, as much as I don't really prefer the feeling of 2-band, I think that it does have a lot of advantages in what you can do with it. I know I had mentioned that, off of the pelt, you can get kind of maybe a little bit more of so-called two-band. Let me just get a quick drink of this coffee. So cheers, you guys. Good morning. So the other thing that I wanted to mention was I had made some comments about the fragrance of Colonia, and I had talked about like the SV soaps, the SV Colonia, the SV 70th, the Opuntia. See, and again, I just, the way that my kind of thoughts process and how they come across on video, I can understand how it's kind of it's a little hard to follow sometimes. But, I've mentioned before that sometimes fragrance is not something that I've really made an effort to really, in every video where I'm talking about a shave soap, I kind of prefer to talk about the performance and the differences between the SV soaps for me, how they feel on my skin. And again, I've mentioned that, my videos are really meant to be taken with a grain of salt, because I can't promise that, as much as you may trust my judgment, it's still very likely that your experience is going to be different. And this is pretty much good to go. But to me, you guys, like Colonia, 70th, Opuntia, you guys, the scents are different, but to me, they're kind of in the same family. I basically just call them all colognes. Basically, the Colonia is maybe a little bit more citrus and herbal and floral. Italian cologne, whatever you want to take that to mean. The 70th is in that same vein. It just has a little bit more of that aquatic note, the kind of like ocean sea salt type of feel. And then this Opuntia, to me, it's kind of in that same vein, but it just has a little bit more bite. I know that a lot of people find this to, on the scent triangle. I've always loved the Opuntia lather. It's very good. It takes up water really good. But this Opuntia has a little bit more bite. That's always how I've put it. It has a little bit of I don't want to say darker. It's just like maybe I get a little bit more of the spice. I think I've always said that it's the birch maybe that I get. And I can't quite remember what that other note is in there. To me, this isn't like super pineapple forward. I know Ethos has that Success, which is like sometimes people were calling it pineapple noir, but I would say that one has a little bit more pineapple forward scent. Ken at Shave 326, he has SV Stella Alpina, and I've always described it as green and clean. I asked him, I said, to your nose, like, what are the things that you pick up in the Stella Alpina? And he described it much more expansively. Like, he picks up quite a bit more of a variety of notes. So, again, I don't really have the expectation that like these videos that I do, like I'm an authority on SV scents, the performance, I know how they work for me, and I know what I enjoy. But, again, with like scent, it's so different with everybody. Ollie was messaging me a couple weeks ago, and he was, I think, making mention that the Cosmo for him, it just smells, I think, like pepper. And, again, this is just kind of like my attitude is, as much as I may have my, strong feelings on things, like I'm almost done finishing my Cosmo, and it's really not my favorite scent. And again, I think a lot of this has to do with, one, my personal preference, but also just kind of like your mood when it comes to like how these scents work in different weather. So the Cosmo I really like if it's cooler weather outside, and if it's like kind of dry and cold. The Cosmo is perfect to use because it's a nice little bit of a warmer scent. I get a little bit more of like there's a gourmand facet in there that, it's like there's a little bit of the vanilla, chocolate, coffee type of feel. There's some spicy notes. I think that one's got like the nutmeg, and I can't remember the other note. But yeah, Ollie said for him the scent is just too pepper forward. So, and I'm not saying like when people in their videos are a little bit like they have their strong conviction of like, this is a review, this is what I smell. I'm cool with, people really, putting out there, this is what I get. I just know for me, it's more of a disclosure that I don't get too much into telling you guys what the scent is, because one, I'm much newer to the world of fragrance. So I don't think I have as much experience picking out and being able to, really, I think, give you guys quite as much value, so to speak, as somebody who I think, has been wearing fragrance, bought a lot of fragrances. I think I'm going to be getting a sandalwood EDP maybe sometime soon. So I'm not trying to downplay my experience or my expertise, but I think there's a lot more people in the shave community that are going to be able to give people a much better opinion when it comes to scents. And again, because I'm sure if I gave you guys SV Colonia, Opuntia, and 70th, most of you guys, I would say like 99% of you guys are going to be able to pick out, or let's say conclude, that they don't smell any bit similar. And I'm just telling you guys, to my nose, they are. I'm not negating anybody else's experience. They kind of seem like they have, like they're from the same family. They come across just a little bit more similar to my nose. So, SV Opuntia is really, really solid. SV has kind of made it harder, in my opinion, as they've released more and more soaps, to be able to give like a ranked list on which ones are best. I know for me, I usually go based off of like, if I wake up in the morning and I want to shave, I look at the condition of my skin, like if I have acne popping up. Obviously, you guys see this ingrown hair that pops up time to time is really not visible. And at other times, like, I don't know, was it 3-4 weeks ago? You see that big old red spot. So, like, if my skin's really, really, like, acne prone and it's visible, Tundra Arctica is a really, really solid choice for me to use. The lather itself is very purifying. And then on top of it, that aftershave is top notch. The Opuntia I really like. I think it's very protective. I don't really find that it's like more appropriate for winter or summer. The scent to me is still, again, I'm just throwing on a little bit of cocoa butter. The scent of Opuntia is still, like I said, citrus floral, so I'll use it. It's going to be heating up a little bit today. Not by much, but what was the other thing I was going to say? But yeah, the lather of this is very protective. I think both Ollie and JB had mentioned that they recently got Opuntia. So maybe they can throw a comment down and let me know if between the SVs that they've used, can you guys really tell a difference? Because you guys are kind of trying SV a little bit later. I think SV pretty soon is going to be around, for like 7 years counting, releasing shave soaps. Let's do this. I'm going to pull the lather out just so you guys can see. This may be a little messy, hopefully. Jam. I'll show you guys some pots later. I actually pulled them out, but oh geez. Yeah, the only thing with the Opuntia lather that I noticed when I first got it is the ficus indica, the prickly pear. It seems like that tends to make, there's a little bit of a puffy, slightly bubbly moment when you're starting to add that water, and it does kind of absorb some of that water. You got to continue drowning it to smooth that texture out. Like the Desert Vetiver, really phenomenal performance. Face feels good. I don't really get that with the Desert Vetiver. The 4.3 Colonia, that one I think maintains a pretty smooth texture regardless of the hydration point. And then the other thing too about the SV Colonia, I don't think it needs to be drowned out quite as much as like the Opuntia. I don't know what's going on with the Phil at Bull Goose should be getting another shipment of Flying Mango. My feeling on that one, you guys, is I'm likely to get one maybe later this year. I still have maybe like 30 shaves worth of the Flying Mango. That one doesn't, the 4.3 formula that got released like 2 or 3 years ago, I really love the updated formula of it. I've used a lot of Mango. I think that I used possibly, I don't know if I used 2 for sure, maybe 3 of the original formula. I used that one a ton. That was when the mango butter, kind of in my shave routine was like, well, my face really does, like the post shave is immediate when I'm done rinsing before I use any aftershave. The scent of the Flying Mango is probably not going to be everybody's favorite, as much as the notes in that scent I think are interesting. I think there's like some pepper, there's some floral, there is some tobacco notes. To me, it's not the most, I don't want to say like it's not the most well done. That kind of sounds like I am kind of dissing them or saying that it's like it's cheap. Again, citrus floral is what I find very pleasant. I really like the SV Flying Mango. It's just, I don't think it's quite what some people expect. And at least for me, sometimes getting through and using some of the soaps 5-10 times, I think the scents sometimes balance out. You'll notice that some of the strong notes immediately that you get, your first impression with, come across a little stronger. And then those kind of get balanced out over time with some of the other base notes that you maybe don't smell quite as much. So again, that's another thing with, I know a lot of YouTubers, they want to do like first impressions, and that's something that I kind of feel a little bit more strongly. I think there's very little value when it comes to, if I had a mail call with 10 different soaps, how does this one smell out of the tub? How does this one smell? Once it gets lathered up and on your face, that's, I think, really kind of where I think the value in how does it really smell, that's the time that you want to give your impression. I don't know, again, as a soap maker, I'm not saying that I am, but many of the soap makers say the perfumes, as like an art that they come up with, putting them in soaps is really not the most ideal medium. It's not a great format to show you, this is my scent creation. in an EDP, EDC, like in an alcohol concentrate, it's much more true to what the perfumer's intention is going to give you. A saponified fat and butter mixed with fragrance, on top of adding the heat, the process of soap making, it changes the scent a lot. So again, I think that's part of why I feel more strongly that there's less value in this is what it smells like out of the tub. So it's not a diss on anyone that does that. I just think that the scent of the soap lathered up is really where it should be. I don't know. I think you guys kind of understand what I'm saying. I think that the scent of soaps to me is important, but really focus on the scent. Half the time I'm using SV, I do like the scent, but most of the time I'm using it for the performance, regardless of how much I'm really in the mood to, like I very happily could have used like Colonia or one of the other soaps, but I just knew that the face feel of this is just so nice. So anyway, again, I hope you guys are all doing good. It's been kind of cool to find some sort of groove this week with just getting more videos done. So I don't know what's going on. I guess I've just had a little bit more time to get these done. So it's been great getting some more shaves on. I think, just to let you guys know, a couple things coming up. I'll probably shave with the Razor Rock Lupo 9.5. I need to get some more shaves in with that to really understand if I want to keep that one. I kind of have a feeling it's going to be a little bit too much blade feel and a little bit too much gap. So I may end up asking for a trade at some point in the future, or just selling the 9.5 base plate and giving the smaller, is it the 7.2 base plate? I'm going to keep playing around with blades. When this Wilkinson sword is done, I think I'm going to be trying this out in the carbon. I find these to be pretty sharp, as well as smooth. Some of the other blades, I haven't shaved with a Kai blade in a while. I don't know what else I have in the works, but yeah, it's been nice just again kind of just using the carbon really and just playing around with blades. I wanted to say, I think you guys are probably going to at least once this summer see me throwing in a new Badger brush, like I had mentioned last time, whether it's a Savile Row or an Akakappa or what was the other one I was thinking of? Maybe a Thader or something. So anyway, like I said, you guys will see me keep mixing it up with the brushes, and then maybe next week I was able to book a haircut appointment. I'm going to get a buzz cut in the middle of the week, and then I'll try to get another head shave. The only one that I've done is that video you guys saw maybe a couple months ago, where the day that I got it cut, I shaved. So it'll be nice to have that feeling again of what it feels like, just totally cut down to skin. So let me know if you guys have any requests of whether it's a topic you guys want me to touch on, or whether it's some gear that you guys want me to use, or any questions. So like I said, it's been good catching up with you guys a little bit more, although my schedule's been a little bit busier. I think somehow I've been fitting in more time to get some of this stuff done. So stay well, you guys. Hope your shaves have been going good, and I'll talk to you guys soon.